Greetings everyone, this is Tactile Tactics here with another Path of Exile video. This is just going to be a short video on working with the passive skill tree. I'm currently logged in to Path of Exile and I'm on my Shadow character. A Shadow character is similar to a rogue character in World of Warcraft. And the thing that I find most confusing, or found most confusing when starting Path of Exile, is working with the passive skill tree. Now, when you gain a level up, you basically gain a skill. There are other ways to gain skills as well, but you get a skill point at the time you level up. So that skill point needs to be applied in the passive skill tree. And let me open that skill tree right now. So this happens to be the skills that I've applied thus far. And as you can see, this skill tree is very, very extensive. There are certain nodes that are specific to the type of character. And this is the node that begins the Shadow character. But as you can see, the network extends in all sorts of different directions. So how do I know that the skills that I'm choosing make the most sense in this particular league? And again, I explained in a former video that leagues are a seasonal effort that's reset about every 3 or 4 months. And if I want to complete or get to the end game part of a league, then I need to apply these skills in a reasonable and understandable manner that is going to enable me to fight the bosses and so on that I'm going to encounter as I proceed through the game. So the question is, how do you do this? And this is the thing that I found a bit stymieing to begin with, is that I never knew whether or not the choices I was making would take me where I needed to go through the end game. So I've did a little bit of research and found some helps available. And for me, this makes this a lot easier and a lot more fun. Since I was always worried about whether or not I was applying these skills correctly, I was hesitant to apply skills at all. And indeed, on a couple of the other characters that I've played, I made what I would now consider probably wrong choices for proceeding through this league towards the end part of the game. So how do you deal with it? Well, let me show you a couple of websites that I found. I'm going to minimize myself out of the game, and talk about a couple of websites I found. The first one that I found to be most important is POE-vault.com. This is a site managed by Icy Veins, and it gives a lot of information, gameplay guides, builds, and so on. So one of the important guides is this gameplay guide. It offers us several different gameplay guides, including beginner guides. And we can scroll down there and select the beginner guide. And within here, we'll have lots of information that's important and worth the read. But I'm going to skip through that right now and go down to the area here where it talks about build choice. And one of the things that they suggest is that when you're starting a new character for a league, then you should probably choose a skill path that it would be considered a good league starter skill path. So here we have a build of choice under point number 6 on this Path of Exile's beginner guide. And I'm going to click this league starter link here. And it gives us a host of different league starter builds that we could use. And let's say that I want to continue working with this shadow character that I have. So this Essence Drain Trickster would be considered a good league starter build for a shadow type character. And we can see that here that my build is a shadow character and a trickster. And I can look down here through here and it gives the summary of what this is about. But it then brings us to this point number 5 where it talks about this passive skill tree. And we have a path of building, and this is where the rubber really meets the road, where it makes sense here. So the path of building, we can either go there or look at the tree. So let's look at the tree first. So this is the passive skill tree that they are suggesting for this particular build, and you can see it kind of wanders all over the place. Nothing I would be able to figure out on my own as a novice player. So we're going to scroll backwards here, get out of that. If we scroll back down to point number 5 it was, and look at the path of building here, it takes us to a page that gives us a bunch of gobbledygook. And what in the world is all of this? Well, this is the key for loading that tree in the Path of Building. Now, the Path of Building is an app that's available on GitHub. And here it is. It's the Path of Building community and Path of Building on github.com. And if you scroll down here, you'll get to the download link to the releases page, and we can download this app right here. Let's go, we're over here, and let's look at latest and scroll to the bottom, and here we have either a zip file or an exe, and probably the simplest thing for a novice with Path of Exile like me is just to download the exe. Now, I've already done that, so I won't go through the steps, but it's just a matter of downloading this setup exe and then running it. And what'll happen then, let's minimize this, and what'll happen then is that you'll launch this app called Path of Building. Now, I already have a couple of builds already in here, but let's go ahead and start with new. So here is the a complete look of the passive skill tree, which is way too extensive in my opinion for someone that's green as me with Path of Exile to figure out. So what I want to do at this point is to import a build. So I'm going to click that button, and we have some options here. And I'm going to choose import from website. And when I do that, it presents me with import from pasteman.com, and it wants me to enter the website link. So let's go back over to that website. So we're going to go back over to this page, the Pasteman website, with all of this gobbledygook, which you could highlight and copy, but instead, let's just take the URL here. So we're going to take this full URL, pasteman.com, and then the particular specific part of the URL for this build, and we'll take that and go back to our Path of Building and paste that right in there. So there we have it. Paste that right in there, and then we can do import. And now that I've imported that, I can look at the tree. Well, skip something here. Let's see, what did I do wrong? Well, this is a little embarrassing, but let me try that again. I did, I forgot a very important step. So I imported from the website, and it entered the code here, and you'll see this code is part of the gobbledygook that we saw over on that website, and that's the key that's been entered here, or code. And so I need to click import and import to a new build. So we'll do import, and now we see the tree. So here's the tree that's been suggested for this particular build. It starts with the shadow character node and then takes us in a couple of different directions as we go through here, and you can highlight each one of these to give an indication of what it is. And additionally, we can look at the skills, we can look at items that it's suggesting, and so on. So let's go ahead and save this, and we'll call this the Trickster Shadow build, and we'll save that. And now if I go back, I can see that it's been added to my builds, and I can select that to view the tree again. And there we have it. So this would be their suggested way of applying the passive skills in a logical and useful way that'll take us through the end game. So that's really what I wanted to show you this morning. I'm actually in my actual live character. I am a shadow assassin. So my skill tree is a little bit different than what we saw just a moment ago. And thus far, I have progressed up to this point here. Oops. I've progressed up to this point here in applying my skills. And I'm a level 12 character, and I've just chosen to go this direction, which seems to be working pretty well. So let's look back at my character here. And if I look at the passive skill tree, you can see that I have applied those skills accordingly. And thus far, I find it very useful and a good way to approach this rather confusing passive skill tree. Folks, that's all I have for you this morning. I hope that this has been useful to you. Sorry about some of my mistakes, but I guess that's the real thing. And hope you enjoyed. Anyways, this is Tactile Tactics signing off.
May your days be long and your hardships few.
And I hope you all have a good week until we next meet up. Thanks. Bye-bye.